Insider trading, everybody. Oh my God.
Personally, I wouldn't even describe this as insider trading, but the left is doing everything they can to bury Trump's previous speech about 2022 elections and Marco Rubio's probably more important speech about left-wing violence and extremism and such. They're doing everything they can. There's obviously this guy, but I just scrubbed through a nearly hour-long video of some YouTuber who's just an old white guy who's moaning into the camera about how the entire world is stunned because Trump had a mental breakdown during his speech, except he didn't really, so it's actually just a lie. And of course, they get hundreds of thousands of views. I don't know how many people are botting, but there's quite a lot of people who are just every single day putting out nonsense about how Trump is having mental breakdowns, and every single one of these videos gets hundreds of thousands of views. A Trump staffer says something that's undermining Trump. Entire Republican Party stunned. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think the Republicans have mental breakdowns when two people happen to have a disagreement. They're not left-wingers. They're not left-wingers who say, "What's that? You disagreed with me? I'll be right back. Let me just get my rifle real quick." Now, the Republicans don't care about people disagreeing on some minor thing. Who cares? And yet, hundreds of thousands of views because two Republicans disagreed on something. But this guy, he's being accused of insider trading. Well, he is guilty of some sort of fraud, it seems. But more importantly, they're trying to hang this around Trump's neck. They're trying to say that the White House is guilty of insider trading.
He was the man behind the scenes, operating President Trump's teleprompter for more than a decade. Gabriel Perez, the guy who knew what Trump was going to say before he said it.
I have a guy, Gabe. He's excellent. I've had some real bad ones, but I have Gabe.
But tonight, sources tell ABC News Gabriel Perez used his inside knowledge to place bets and win more than $100,000 in the prediction market, Kalshi.
My fellow Americans, our nation is back.
Sources tell us Perez...
You notice the random cut to Trump saying that there. Totally irrelevant unless you're trying to smear Trump's name, right? Great that we have state media trying to smear the name of our president. Personally, I don't favor that kind of thing, regardless if it's Democrats, if it's Republicans, if it's left-wing media, right-wing media. I just don't think it's a good look for the country to have state media trying to make the president look bad. Call me crazy, but I just don't think for the country, I don't think that's a great look for the rest of the world to see that. But that is what they did there. So Kalshi is a betting market, which personally, if I ever take a sponsor, then it's never going to be for a betting market. It's never going to be for, I mean, anyone's ever going to give me a sponsor, especially because I talk about politics, but I would never talk about betting markets. I'd never talk about gotcha games. They're terrible. They're just a net negative to the world. They don't give anything back. They're just net negatives. But at Kalshi, apparently on Kalshi, which is some sort of betting market, you can bet on what people are going to say in speeches before they say it. So with Trump here, they were obviously betting on what he actually said in his speeches, which ABC has provided the perfect clips for this.
President Trump is famous for going off script.
You know, when you go up here, you take a big chance, especially me, because I go off teleprompter about 80% of the time.
Sources tell...
Right, so I guess that's how people are trying to connect this guy to Trump, as if Trump is in on it. The guy made $100,000 betting on Trump's speeches. Do you think that Trump would risk anything? He wouldn't risk a hair on his head. Okay, this guy's bald, but it wasn't a joke about that. He wouldn't risk anything. He wouldn't risk a single flake of orange skin to protect this guy. $100,000, and they're going to try and say, well, it's the billionaires, everybody. It's the billionaires. Trump doesn't care about this guy. This guy got his just desserts.
This is precisely why critics say these markets need more regulation.
Now, I don't know how exactly you regulate a betting market without ruining the market, but this particular betting market actually caught the guy scamming, which is in their own best interest, by the way, to catch scammers. So, again, I would say these betting markets should just be destroyed entirely, dismantled from the ground up. But it doesn't really make any sense to look at the betting market and see, oh, look, they caught the bad guy. Yeah, they need more regulation. I think they've done well enough.
Because they are so vulnerable to corruption and abuse, just like this.
But it's not corruption and abuse, really. It's the person that was corrupted, right? It wasn't the betting market that was corrupted. So you're saying the person is vulnerable to corruption, but then you could say that about anything, right? Like it's like the gun doesn't kill people kill people, right? So then you have to get rid of all the guns. Oh, that solved the problem, but then people still have knives. So you didn't really solve the problem at all.
This is the first publicly known instance of potential insider trading coming from the Trump White House.
And notice how that said, insider trading coming from the Trump White House. Nope. This came from one guy. This came from one dude, that guy right there. He's guilty of it. This guy gave in to his base instinct, his base desires. He gave in to greed. He was corrupted. He specifically made a bad decision, and he is punished for it.
Perez made $175,000 a year as a deputy assistant to the president.
Again, you hear how ABC's phrase that. These clips are all from ABC and CNN, by the way. You hear how ABC's phrase that as deputy assistant to the president. He made $100,000 in insider trading as the deputy assistant to the president, but that's not what happened. Trump obviously wasn't going to be in on this. Trump obviously wasn't going to risk anything about him to help some random guy get $100,000 insider trading, which I wouldn't even really call it that. I mean, I guess it might technically be, but normally insider trading is some sort of collusion, right? This guy just happened to have insider knowledge. That's how I would define it. He had insider knowledge that allowed him to scam the system. It wasn't really insider trading, at least not by definition. I mean, I don't know exactly all the different definitions of it, but here they're trying to define it as the guy who happened to have a job in the White House did it, and so therefore it's the Trump admin who is personally responsible for it, which is an absolutely absurd thing. And again, this guy, one guy, made a mistake, a big mistake, and he was found guilty of that mistake.
I spoke with him about it. He believes it's deeply unfortunate and frankly a disgrace, and the individual that was cited in that report is complying with the CFTC. There will be a teleprompter operator tonight, of course, but it will not be the one, unfortunately, in that story.
So, again, this is a guy who the President of the United States of America said, he name dropped him, right? He gave this guy a name drop on mic and said that he's great. That's what happened to you in your life. The President of the United States of America said that about you. And now the President of the United States of America is calling you a disgrace. That really is a disgrace, isn't it? That's a massive fall from grace. The President of the USA saying that you're a great guy, and then the President of the USA saying that you're a disgrace. And I know that Trump turns on people pretty quickly when they betray him, but isn't this a betrayal? Doesn't this deserve condemnation? And that's what he got. That's a huge punishment. The guy has now been called a disgrace in front of the entire world. His entire family name is ruined. He's on unpaid leave. He's being investigated. I'm sure he's going to be punished in some sort of legal way. Like, not so long ago, people would have fallen on their sword in order to reclaim their family's honor for something like this. But now it's just like he's a piñata that the left-wing media is repeatedly beating, trying to get candy out of him. He's under investigation. He's caught. He's caught. One guy did something bad for the sake of himself, and he was caught. It has nothing to do with Trump.
What steps is the White House taking to ensure something like that doesn't happen again? Well,
good God, what a stupid question. I know that there's no real way that you can, like, I mean, he's a reporter, right? A journalist or whatever. Like, he has to ask these questions, but like, what do you say to that? What steps are we taking? Well, we've hired a local psychic to come into the White House, and she's going to do some future readings on everybody to find out whether or not they're going to do something wrong in the future. Yeah, okay, yeah, we're gonna have prophetic readings on people to find out whether or not they're going to abuse their insider knowledge to do tradings on the Kalshi market. I mean, what do you say to this question? Like, So here's the issue. They're hammering on this guy over and over again to try and get to Trump because of money, right? That's what it's all about. It's trying to say, look at all the money the Republicans are making. Billionaires bad. That's what they're always doing with this. In fact, on the same day, you have Bernie Sanders putting out his Super PACs are destroying democracy video. We cannot allow billionaire super PACs to destroy American democracy, is the title of it. Literally the only thing this man says, despite being worth millions of dollars. It's the billionaires, guys. It's the billionaires. We got to worry about the billionaires. Don't worry about the millionaires. Don't worry about the millionaires like me. We're the downtrodden too. It's insane that these people don't realize what they are going to get as their just desserts. You're hammering on and on about money, trying to destroy capitalism, and at the end of the day, you're rich too. At the end of the day, there's loads and loads and loads of Democrats who are millionaires, tens of millionaires, hundreds of millionaires, billionaires even. What happens as you continue to push socialism and communism? What happens to the people who are investing in your future? Well, they're going to pull out because they don't want to go broke. What happens to the politicians who are fighting for the democracy, the great holy democracy that doesn't want money? Well, those people who got money, like Bernie Sanders, like Ro Khanna, Gavin Newsom, they're not gonna want to lose their fortunes, their family fortunes, their tens, their hundreds of millions of dollars. You can't just sit there and hammer on about money over and over again if that's the only thing you do. And that's what they're doing with this guy. They're trying to once again say that the only thing Trump cares about is money. He only became the president to squeeze America dry, to take all the money from America. Like, the guy already had all the money he could ever possibly need. It's idiotic to think that he became president for money. And loads of presidents have money. I mean, pretty much all of them. And they continue to make money afterwards, going around doing book deals and crap like that. You're supposed to make money as the president because you're putting in a lot of your life to do that. And you're endangering yourself quite a lot. And I don't just mean Trump. I mean, in general, people who become president or even major politicians or like federal courts or Supreme Court especially, like, they're putting their lives on the line for this kind of stuff. So, and it's a capitalist country, so of course you're expected to get something out of it. I don't blame them for that. I mean, obviously there's a level where it becomes corruption, but do you think that level is, for Trump anyway, do you think that is some random person who works in the White House who happened to do something bad? I don't think so. Like, if you just happen to know someone who works at your company and they pickpocket somebody, does that make you a pickpocket? It's not like this is Trump's fault, and they're trying to hang it around his neck, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that this is the only thing they have to go off of, is claiming that Trump is having mental breakdowns every time he has a speech, which I don't know how you'd even know whether or not he has a mental breakdown. In his last State of the Union, where he's talking about the 2020 elections, you have to skip 6 minutes into the video before he actually says anything new. Prior to that, he's just bragging on himself about how great his administration is, which that is one of my major complaints about Trump. I don't want to wait 6 minutes to hear something new. Just get to the new stuff off. Maybe at least like pare it down a little bit. Pare it down to like 30 seconds of gloating and then the new stuff. That'd be great. But they're trying to say he's having a mental breakdown. Like, what are you talking about? They're constantly doing this, constantly saying he's having a mental breakdown, constantly saying he's too old, he's a geriatric patient, he needs to be in a nursing home. The dude is literally everywhere all the time. He's Speedy Gonzalez. He's constantly in front of every microphone, constantly talking. Sleepy Trump, who's always awake all the time and constantly doing interviews all the time and it's constantly everywhere in the war room and stuff. They're always reaching for something that's not there. It's proven to not be there. I mean, yes, he is old. Yes, he is orange. But what else do they got to go off of? Is insider trading. Right, yeah. Well, Trump's guilty of someone else committing insider trading. Clearly, the Republicans are evil. You got them. You got them, guys. There's nowhere they can go from there. They're pinned in the corner. It's over. The Republicans are done. Anyway, thank you for... I'm not going to watch this Bernie Sanders thing because it doesn't matter. You know, he's literally just going to say, billionaires bad, capitalism bad. He's just going to say the same thing over and over. There's no reason to watch it. I was keeping it up here for... They can't stop hammering on money being bad, a bad thing. No one should have money anymore. It's evil for you to have money. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.
He is a corrupt kleptocrat who has increased his wealth and the wealth of his family by billions of dollars since he has been president.